You. Just to let you know before we begin, When the Stars Fell is a Dungeons & Dragons podcast for adults, and contains some less than savory language. Even though it takes place in a make-believe world, listener discretion is advised. Thank you. Extra, read all about it. There's been a murder in the main square. Zanathar has been found dead. The guards, led by their brave captain, are looking for the culprits. If you've seen any of these rapscallions wandering the streets, let the guards know. I'm contractually obligated to tell you that part. Also, Madame Zidon's annual bingo night is happening tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Extra.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby. Don't let them rain on your spark. Keep it close to your heart. All of the pressure's gonna drive you crazy. Close your eyes to the madness. In the morning, it's all gonna vanish. Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
Ah, crap! I have no scrap paper. What type of heathen am I for not taking notes?
You need to take some notes, man. Get yourself some paper. Take some notes.
I think I've decided I'm not taking notes at all. I'm just gonna be chaotic.
I took a feat that says I don't have to take notes.
I was gonna say.
I needed to take notes, and I don't have a notebook to take notes, so I'm not taking notes.
Would you like my
It's okay.
notebook?
I think I'm just going to trust in the process.
Would you like my notes?
I will just trust in your notes.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
don't write
can
something
share.
stupid.
Too late.
You guys have to carry the team and remember things.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to When the Stars Fell, a D&D podcast where me and a couple of my other middle-class working friends escape reality and pretend to be people that we're not in an imaginary world of our own creation. I'm Jacob, I'm your DM. Everyone's going to share who they are, the character they're playing, and a little fun fact about their characters so you can get to know them a bit more.
I thought we did that last time.
No, you gotta do it. You gotta do it every beginning. So this is a voice.
You don't have to go as deep in detail, obviously, but
You know what? Sometimes people hear like shovels. Okay, don't be
Well, you know what? Speaking of shovels, I'll start digging first. My name's Braden. I play Wahlock Boark, a mountain dwarf who is into wild magic. Oh, a fun fact.
Yeah.
His hair didn't used to be red. When he found out, when his wild magic suddenly surged through him, it turned red. His hair actually used to be a blonde.
Hi there, my name is Molly. I am playing the character of Solstice. She's a half human, half Zuzonian, which is like part like Arizonian, like Amazonian woman. That's what I meant. And as for her fun fact, she has a companion by the name of Mr. Wiggles. He is an otter, and he's blue. But she doesn't know why he's blue. He just is blue. We'll figure out more about that, I imagine, later. It's not important. She's never questioned it. She's just like, he's a blue otter, so what?
I started thinking about it. What if we all say the exact same fun fact every time?
No, God.
Is it the same rotation for everybody? Would I be up next for everyone
think
else?
so.
You are
Okay.
next.
My name is Joe. I am playing Eridanus, the Starborn Wildfire Druid. Fun fact about Eridanus, while they don't necessarily like labels, they would label themselves as an anarcho-socialist, and I do think that Eridanus wants to change the world through whatever means that necessarily needs to take.
Love it.
That may or may not be a threat.
period, queen.
Hi, my name's Ray. I'm going to be playing Alison. He is a 6-foot-tall tinkerer. He's been living in junkyards his whole life. He's basically working with what he's got. Fun fact, Himkin, he has no idea what breed he is. He has no idea why he's so big.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I play Herland, who is a bardic dwarf star. Her fun fact is that when she first arrived in, like, the human village, everyone looked at her in disgust because, you know, she's basically made of rotting flesh. And so she just thought that that's how the living people greeted each other. So throughout her entire interaction with everyone else, she just started giving them looks of disgust and horror because she thought it was her being polite.
I mean, me too. Absolutely. I completely understand. When I look at other people, I'm like, you look disgusting. Have a nice day.
Oh, well, I'm Jacob. I'm your dungeon master.
You said that
game
already.
master. Oh, I did already say that. I didn't just
Right.
you guys already know me.
Thank you, Captain.
Gosh, I'm so excited. We're gonna get into this. This is gonna be so fun. Okay, so you guys are back at Crossroads Tavern. Last time we had everybody, you guys went and met at the Crossroads Tavern, Madame Zidon's Crossroads Tavern. Got to meet her and also got to talk to Mr. Mann, who explained more about the mission that he wants to send you guys on, which is to collect these sacred artifacts. From that point, you guys got to talk, got to know each other, put a giant tab on Mr. Mann's tab, which is fantastic. Also proceeded to hear shouting from the streets, and as you came out, there was a dead body of Zanathar, who is the person that you were supposed to talk to that knew where one of the artifacts would be. You guys tried to bring him back, that didn't work, and then you guys cloaked and vanished as the guards were coming, and there was another guard that joined the fray and pushed away the smoke.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He was a half-orc guard kind of person, seemed to be
That guy sucks.
ordering the guards what to do, and then said, "Don't worry, we're here to protect you."
Don't worry, we're here to protect you.
Exact.
Spooky.
Spooky stuff.
He's got the bad juju. Bad juju.
So where you guys find yourselves now is you guys are in the Crossroads Tavern. You guys have, I'm assuming, made it back inside, and you guys are standing in the foyer of, well, not the foyer, but like the main area of the tavern where all the tables and chairs are. What are you guys going to do now?
Well, I was gonna say, if Wahlock remembers correctly, the king has one of the artifacts. It's a
Yes.
scepter, I believe.
Yep, that's correct. Yep, he currently the
But
whatever
we don't
this
know how to
artifact
get
is.
to it.
Yeah, Zanathar was supposed to be our in to get it, and now he's dead. So I'm gonna go to Mr. Mann and be like, you might want to check for a new line of intel.
Don't you guys want to check out the letter as Solstice waves it up in the air?
Oh, he did have documentation on him.
At that point, Madame Zidon rushes over to you guys, and she's like, "This is great. Love the energy. Love the fact that you guys have this letter, or whatever. Like, that's great. I'm gonna need you guys to move towards the back, please, Mr. Mann. You know the room that would be most perfect for this occasion, if you will." And she rushes to the front door with Mr. Mann, and leaving you guys standing there in the middle of the tavern. And Mr. Mann looks over at you, Solstice, and he says, "I see. This definitely causes some issue. Let's get out of this main area, because it seems that you guys made quite a ruckus with the guards, and personally don't want to have to deal with them right now." And so Mr. Mann starts to walk back towards the back of the tavern to where there seems to be this kind of like very normal doorway that might lead to what you would assume would be a kitchen or something like that. But he's walking back that direction.
Ah, yes, what a very normal looking doorway.
I'll just follow him and be like, have you ever thought about hiring mercenaries and getting rid of the guard?
As he's walking and he hears you say that, he's like, "Well, things are a little bit more complicated than that, especially on the outer parts of the Empire." And he continues to walk.
Apologies for causing such a ruckus. I was just trying to get this important piece of information to figure out what happened to our poor boy who lays dead in the street.
Yeah, I'm not apologizing. I tries to bring him back to life.
So I'm assuming everybody following him at this point, is that?
Correct.
Wahlock is looking at the door because it's such a normal looking door.
Non-suspicious door. The door has a mustache. Clearly not suspicious.
Are these artifacts that we are to collect, are they intended of getting rid of the guard?
Mr. Mann looks at you, obviously He has the mask on still and the cloak. He kind of like puts his head to the side a little bit and then to the other side, and he's like, let's talk about this in here. As you guys walk in, you realize that actually that doorway led into a hallway, and he opens one of the doors in that hallway that seems to lead into another room.
Was the door suspicious?
This one actually did look a little bit suspicious. It didn't have a mustache, so it's quite suspicious.
This party is suspicious. What are you talking about? Is the door
Clearly
suspicious?
It didn't have a mustache, therefore it wasn't suspicious.
No, that means it is suspicious. We are used to mustaches on doors in this kingdom. How dare it not have a mustache?
Canonically, doors now have mustaches.
Oh my gosh. What a canon to have, guys. This is riveting. So do you follow him in?
Oh, I'm gonna. I've got no reason not to.
I've
trust
already agreed
this
to
guy.
this.
Wahlock will look one last time at the mustacheless door. Just yank, just go through his beard a bit. Just all right, and go through.
Okay. I'm gonna need Wally, Eridanus, and Herland to give me a. You can either do perception or arcana.
I have advantage with a +2 on one and a +6 on the other. I'm gonna use the +6. Damn, should have went with the advantage probably. I got a 10.
I'm gonna, with Arcana, it's 10.
Damn.
I got a 7, but I forgot what my perception is. Hold on.
So we all got 10.
So as you all walk in, Alison and Solstice, it seems like a pretty normal room. The room, it's a little darker, but like not too bad. There's still enough candlelight. It has a big table in the middle with like chairs around it. It seems like a normal room, a normal kind of meeting room.
Has dark vision up to 60 feet.
You can see. Yeah, you're good. It's not super dark. It's actually pretty like, it's just like dimly lit, but it's still like really, you can see the entire room. But Wally, Herland, and Eridanus, what you notice as you walk in is that it's kind of like there's just this feeling of almost like a bubble. Like when you go to like touch a bubble and pop it, it's like that same consistency that you just walk through and then you're in the room. It's the same room, same chair, same kind of dimly lit, but like you can see around. And the man goes ahead and he sits down in the farthest chair on the other side of the table.
Wahlock, like, something clicks, but he's just gonna keep it in the back of his mind, because he doesn't want to raise suspicion.
Your suspicion.
No, he has no mustache. Well, actually, he does have a mustache, therefore he's not suspicious.
The reason why Alison and Solstice didn't notice is because we were just like, yeah, let's just go in.
What's wrong? It's just a room.
It's just a room.
It's just a mustacheless door.
So Mr. Man sits down in the farthest chair. He kind of motions. He's like, please join me. We're going to have to discuss how to move forward with this.
I hope you don't take offense, but I prefer to stand.
Can't stand it.
I'll stand at the other end of the table.
I shall sit, but I will sit one chair away from him as if to give space between me and him.
Herland's been kind of like struggling to enter the room because she's like just kind of really freaking out about the bubble and worried that it's gonna like feel weird. And so like she finally like gets into the room and she just like kind of stands behind Eridanus.
That's me with a hot shower first thing in the morning. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that.
4'7" Wally jumps up onto a chair, only to have his eyes barely over the table.
I was kind of hoping the chair was made of like straw so that he unintentionally falls through the chair. Rob breaks.
Can we ring for a booster seat? Can we ring for a booster seat?
A Gaston, a seat.
And as soon as you do that, Wahlock all of a sudden feels himself jump up, and the chair now, the legs have extended so that he can see over the chair.
That's what I call good service.
And there's just a tiny little voice coming from behind you, and it's Madame Zanathar. She's like, oh, only the finest for our guest. With everybody seated, Mr. Man, he sits down. He's like, we should be fine in here. Madame Zanathar is very good with magic and knows a lot about it. So she has created these rooms that are sealed off, and using magic makes it so that no one can hear from outside what's been going on here, and we won't be able to hear from outside what's going on. So we'll have the utmost privacy with what we're about to discuss. Tell me again, what exactly happened?
Your boy's dead.
Zanathar was lying dead in the street, and we found him lying in the street with a notice attached, or more or less hidden within him, and there was a wound on him that was leaking black.
Oh, it was very necrotic.
Yes.
I tried to revive him, but he was dead longer than what one would have thought with the time between us going out and the screams.
I was able to get the note. That's what alerted the guards. I was trying to be sneaky, but I guess guess I must have tripped over something.
I got to eat one of them. That's all I got.
You ate one of the guards?
No. Yeet. It's this new term I'm coming up with. It's where it's kind of like a throw, but you just go for distance.
Yeet.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll catch on.
Like Y-E-T-E? Like
Yeah, Y-E-E-T.
I see.
Yeah. No, not Y-E-T-E. That's completely different. No.
I hope for the best for... How do you say that again?
Yeet. Yeah.
Yeet.
No, yeet. Yeah, don't...
Like eat, but with a Y at the beginning.
Exactly.
So Mr. Man, he just kind of like leans back in his chair a little bit, and he puts his hand up to his face like he's thinking, kind of like what I'm doing now. And he says, "So Zanathar is dead."
Yeah. Assuming that it wasn't some sort of trick, a body double, or some other shenanigans.
Mr. Wiggles pops his head up from the table, and he has the letter in his mouth, and he jumps and scampers just lightly and places it in front of Mr. Man and scampers back and crawls back up onto the shoulder of Solstice.
Timken the goat yells angrily at the otter as it passes.
That's great. Mr. Man goes and he grabs the letter and pulls it up, and he looks at it. Where'd you get this?
It was found on him.
Yeah, it was on his body. I tried to, him back to life, and it fell out of his coat. And Solstice...
Is that a technical term?
Yes. I mean... I don't really know. All I know is I take some of me and I concentrate it on my hands, and then I boom, and then sometimes people come back.
Interesting.
But if it could be a clue as to what happened to Zanathar, we may as well have had the evidence before the guard. You know how guards are, always corrupt, passing through evidence, going to strip clubs. You can't trust them nowadays.
They seem to be more of an impedance than helpful. I almost thought about removing them, but it was easier to just hide away.
Well, that's one thing that both the dwarves and the humans have in common. Their guards are ass.
So Mr. Man, he's listening to you guys as you talk about the guards, and he looks at the letter. He stops for a moment, and he looks at you, Eridanus, and he's like, "You can cast Revivify?"
Yeah.
Interesting. He looks back at the letter, and he's like, "Well, let's see what it says." And he goes to rip it open, and he realizes that as he's about to, it just flips open. And so this letter has been opened before, and he pulls it out, and he opens it up, and...
Wait! I don't think that it's very polite to read other people's mail.
Oh, he's dead.
Perhaps
it's okay.
there are some moral implications to this.
I understand your trepidation in violating someone's privacy, though I must point out that logically there is no person anymore for the privacy to be violated. I guess you could say past tense that they were, but they no longer are. I think that in order to pursue justice, this mild transgression against a dead man's privacy is ethically neutral.
I'm interested in hearing what the letter has to say.
Unless it's his tax forms.
It's just hard. It's hard to comprehend the possibility that someone could truly be nothing after death.
I understand, but it is my understanding that for the, should I phrase this, the living organics, the folks like our friends here, that my understanding is there is no known after death. I mean, from all death, new life is created, but the person that was Zanathar, unless, and I don't mean to offend our non-believing friends, unless some very intense magical energy is used to bring them back, he's gone. Though I guess there is the implication that if he could come back, is he truly gone? I'll have to think about this.
Okay, can I just ask him before we open the letter?
You don't have to listen to this.
I just think that maybe I should go and talk to the man before we read his letter.
The only problem I would say with that is that the guards of which we are trying to avoid attention are around his body and or have moved it by now.
That was not very kind. They should have asked for consent before doing that.
I don't disagree.
And Mr. Man, you can see his head like going back and forth, kind of like a tennis thing. And he's definitely already reading the letter as you guys are having this conversation. And he goes, "Well, this is most concerning. This seems to be a letter from his assistant, Alicia Winterstrider.
Who now?
Alicia Winterstrider. And he's kind of like, he brings his finger out and he starts like going back over the letter and then starts to read it. He's like, I'll just read it to you guys. And he goes, and it's, Dear Zanathar, I have gotten word from one of your informants that there's a mercenary that is after you. They couldn't give me a time or specific place, but I think it would be best to be on your guard. I've also taken the liberty of looking to hire more adventurers to guard you. I know you don't enjoy having that many armed men around you, but I encourage you to utilize these adventurers so that you are safe. I also have heard word that oh, never mind, I'm going to skim over this part. Please be safe, Zanathar, and please use the guards that I have hired for you. Best wishes, Alicia Winterstrider. And he begins to fold it back up and...
No.
And Herland removed her hands from her ears.
If you're gonna share something, you gotta share all of it.
The other portion of that letter was strictly for me.
In his head, I'm going to say, honesty's the best policy. You want us to rob a king, I think you can be forthright with the information.
I speak also in his head, and I say, I don't want to know.
Okay, so yeah, you say that, and he kind of like swivels his head over to you really quickly, and then looks back at the table, and he pulls it back out, and he says, okay. The letter also says that Alicia has heard word that Mr. Man, I am in town. Apparently she's already talked to Madame Zidane, and it seems that I am meeting with you all, and... She assumes that he will be drug into our antics, which seemingly is not too far-fetched now, is it?
But...
I appreciate you sharing that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that implies they know of our existence.
It implies a lot of things. I mean...
Xanathar? Do you mean?
Xanathar, or at least Alicia Winterstrider, the person who addressed this letter to Xanathar, knew you were meeting up with us. Now, whether or not that means that Winterstrider knew our individual identities, it doesn't really say, but knew that you were meeting with a group, which means their intel, no offense, Mr. Man, is at least as good as your own, unless you have, more.
He begins to tap at the table with his fingers, and it makes a weird sound because he has like gloves on, so it's like the rubber against the wood. And he's tapping away.
While he's tapping, I want to attempt to speak to Solstice in her mind.
Okay.
That's gonna be more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. We don't share an actual bond, so this would be very difficult. She may not hear me.
Solstice, I'm gonna have you roll an Arcana check.
8.
And now, Eridanus, I'm gonna have you roll an Arcana check as well.
21.
As you try to reach into Solstice's mind and talk to her, you can't really hear anything from her. You get bits and pieces, and there seems to be like a slight connection, but it feels very one-sided. Like you're hearing bits and pieces of her thoughts, but she cannot hear yours.
We all live in the yellow submarines. Yellow submarines.
Is that just all he hears?
No. But the concept's really great.
That'd be really
Great.
Can we do that?
Well,
That's
what
all
he
hears.
does what he does here is her like different she's like analyzing the surroundings around her. She's analyzing the surroundings around her and figuring out what's the best way to possibly pickpocket Magic Man and see what he has in his pockets.
I just want it to be known for the listeners. This isn't a spoiler. This is just a fun fact coming early. Joe just telepathically communicated to Molly in real life, because I'm not saying that's what Eridanus was going to say to Solstice, but that is almost exactly what I was going to say. So,
I mean, her first sleight of hand is pretty...
Yes.
So good! It's so good! Oh my god!
Hocus pocus, alakazam. If I can't have a critical roll, I'll make it.
Well, she's pretty apprehensive about it because she doesn't know Mr. Man.
Yeah.
And she's one of those, like, she associates who she's talking to first before she decides to grab.
Oh, yeah.
Especially considering the fact she is, the getaway gecko. She is known for her stealing and everything, but she has to be absolutely certain. She knows this, so...
So Mr. Man is
Finger tapping.
finger tapping.
He's playing the one-man band with the hand. Hey.
And as he comes to kind of a realization, he stops and he says, this is going to be a problem. Zanathar is one of the most inside outsiders that you would ever know. He is so interconnected with the workings of the Human Alliance Guard that...
So what you're saying is he was integral, and without him...
This is like a strike while the iron's hot sort of thing.
It definitely shows that there's issues. The question would be that not only is he so interconnected with the Guard, but he, for the longest time, has been almost untouchable. That means somebody found a way
to do more than touch him.
There's always a way
obviously.
around a trickster. If I know anything, that much I have learned from being on the street.
It seems, though, that there was some inklings from his intelligence circles that at least they knew he was being targeted. My guess is that if we're gonna get any information, you might have to talk to Alicia.
Where is this Alicia?
And what is the probability that after you say this to us that she will be dead?
No, it's not like it's his fault that Xanthar's dead.
Well, no,
Well-
but maybe we don't know that there isn't a correlation and causation. Like, he tells us about Zanathar. Within 3 minutes, Xanathar's dead. I'm not, again, Mr. Man, I'm not accusing you of anything. However, you were in the letter as a warning of some sort to Zanathar, and I'm not saying you hired us to kill him. That's not what you said we needed to do.
Here's a very important question that I don't feel like anybody else is asking. Why is it that it's the antics that Mr. Man is doing? Why is it that this is seen as a bad thing to these people? Nobody's really sitting here and asking that question.
Mr. Man kind of holds up his hand and he says, me and Zanathar don't have the best of past. We disagree on a lot of things. If you must know, he is a part of the owner of a huge trading conglomerate across the Human Alliance. The reason that he has as many favors as he does within the Human Alliance Guard is because he supplies them with dwarven weaponry, something that is basically impossible to get except through the underground.
Mr. Man, if you don't mind my asking.
Yeah, of course.
At this point, you have put us in a bit of a position. We could go after Alicia, but there is the also very high likelihood that she may be hostile to us from your past with Zanathar. There is no guarantee that she'll be nice.
Well, we could talk to her without needing to mention a connection to Mr. Man. We could be of our own private investigation.
I was just about to say, this is a perfect opportunity to sneak in. It's not my style, but he's dead. The guards are now going to try to figure out answers. If we pose as people trying to look for said answers, it will get us into a lot of different places. The problem is, we need to somehow get ourselves to not only look the part, but to somehow play that part.
But
As he looks around with the party of a bunch of different kind of people.
I'm not saying that we're the sort of group that can't get in. I am saying that if you're the sort of people that kill a guy as high a priority as Zanathar, people are thinking about his friends and stuff like that are going to try to get information. I'm not saying sneaking won't work. I am saying, wouldn't they be looking for us just a little bit?
there's that. There is also the very, very big fact that there could be a no questions asked attack situation. And exactly how are we going to ask her, hey, we're looking for said artifacts. Where exactly, how are we going to get a hold of these kind of things?
I think we should take a different route. I think Zanathar can still get us there. It's how much are you willing to... I can't forget the common word for it. You lie. So we pose as a group of just investigators trying to find answers, and then we get those answers. We solve Xanathar's murder. That gets us, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Man, but Zanathar was close to the king. Obviously, he knew where he was going when parades were happening. He at least was in his ear.
He wasn't, as far as I'm aware, he wasn't close to the king. But he was very close to, they call him the chief. Not much is known about him. Very little is public. But from what I'm aware of, he is a high official in the Human Alliance Guard.
Oh.
Amongst most, they call him the chief. Amongst most poorer folk, they call him Chief Hag, which is a whole nother issue, but...
Did you say Chief Hag?
Correct.
Does he look ugly?
Well, again, not a lot of people have seen him.
There's one very particular group that keeps appearing in these discussions, and that is the Guard of the Human Alliance. I guess the spaced out standing army for the Human Alliance is like So there's a stalemate war. So is this like everyone who was fighting in a war is just now a guard? And
The guard is what's left of the army, protectors of the king. That's a great way to put it. There's a lot of them become protectors of the king, and a lot of the people the structures that were the army before have now integrated themselves into a peacekeeping force within the empire.
May I ask, so we know that we can look for people who are living in order to get the information that we need. But is there anyone other than,
Zanathar.
Yeah, that's the name, Zanathar, who perhaps are not living, but would be able to give us the information. If we can find their location, I could speak to them, and
We could just make
we wouldn't
them.
be noticed by anyone.
I mean, if you can make the dead answer questions, we can just make them dead.
That is also a possibility, but I was not really thinking of it like that.
Well, I apologize. I'm coming to one conclusion, which is that at least the King's Guard are a corrupt force. They are their head guard is in close contact with the wealthiest trading conglomerate. Is that what you said, Mr. Man?
Definitely one of the wealthiest, yes.
Obviously that is not up to snuff, if you catch my drift.
Well, we do have a card up our sleeve. Solstice kind of turns her cloak inside out, revealing this gecko part head. It's like made of cloth. It's all sewn together. And these sleeves that attach to her hands. And she goes, in my village, I am known as the getaway gecko. They have never caught me. You do have that on my side. This cloak in particular is made of a special residue from a plant that grows near our village. It helps me to climb walls.
You are an incredible organic. That is fascinating. That is an incredible ability.
You get bored after a while and you play around with plants.
So it's at this moment that you guys hear knocking on the door. And at first you think that it might be a person because of the rhythmic nature of the knock. But you realize that the time in between each is a little bit longer than you first realized.
So like, boom. Boom.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep, exactly.
Mr. Man, now would be a good time for an escape route.
Mr. Man looks over at the door and he said, I don't think so. And he ducks down under the table. And you guys hear that rhythmic knocking and boom,
Wants to make
boom.
What kind of check would Wahlock make to Actually, let's just make a perception check.
Arcana. It's an Arcana check at advantage, yes.
Actually, that makes sense. Yeah. Give me a second dice. I have like 7 of them. That is an 18 plus 5, making 23.
You know exactly what this is.
Yep.
And it's at that moment that you look, there's one more big thump, but this time, the door bursts open, and in comes this flying gear, headed straight to your face, Wally. Go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, he gets a 7.
7? That's it?
A 7.
Yeah, so as you make the recognition of what it is, it bursts through the door, and before you have time to react, it is sped right at you and clocked you in the face. Go ahead and give me a D100 roll.
All right. 98.
This is like the worst version
98?
of Mjolnir ever.
Mm-hmm.
Sparks fly out of the connection point between your skull and this gear. And as they're flying out in all directions, one of the bolts hits the goat, and he just starts to like freeze up and start to shake violently as he's like being shocked. And it's in that moment then, as the shock dissipates, he starts to float up towards the ceiling. And the goat like looks around, and he's like, and then he just starts to like swim in the air. And you accidentally cast fly on our good friend Timkin.
Timkin, I swear you.
And at that point, you see Madame Zidon's face kind of peer over and look at the dent in her door, and she looks over at Mr. Man. She's like, I'm probably gonna add that to your tab. Is that okay with you? And Mr. Man like peeks up from the table and he's just like, yeah, that's fine. And he goes and sits back down in his chair. And Madame Zidane comes in and she's like, I couldn't help but hear that you're looking for Alicia, is that right?
All Wahlock has to say is,
Madam Zindar,
Of
question.
course. Yes, dear.
Is this, one of those places of confidentiality?
I mean, what happens at the Crossroad Taverns happens at the Crossroad Taverns, if you catch my drift.
Because Solstice is standing there doing that, the hand motion with, like, the circles and stuff like that, while still in her cloak, trying to explain. She's just like, it's not what it looks like. It's not. I promise.
Wahlock
this
looks up.
is a secret I'm taking to my grave. I'm excited about this.
Wahlock looks
Ridiculous. And she
Very
quickly
excited.
turns inside the cloak, inside out, back to the to the normal standpoint.
I want you to know,
Everyone turns
Wahlock
into
saw
it.
none of that.
No, because he was on the floor holding his nose.
Exactly.
So she kind of comes in and she's like, I hate to be a bearer of bad news. But it seems that I was able to distract the guards a little bit, but they're very much keen on finding you. I've redirected them to another way. But I couldn't help
what
but
you're
overhear.
trying to say is we need to get out of here as fast as possible, right?
It probably would not be a bad idea. I mean, I can keep you guys, safe and that's not a big deal.
I understand. We've overstayed our welcome. We gotta get on this adventure anyways.
I think there's something else that you guys might be interested in seeing.
Other than this stupid ass gear, as he throws it the other way.
Oh, actually, hold on. Duh, I forgot to do the most important part. That's 8 points of damage.
Perfect.
Actually, wait, that was a D8. Hold on, I rolled the wrong die. 3 damage. I'm supposed to roll a D4, not D8. I misread. So as is happening, she pulls out a piece of parchment from her pocket and places it on the table. And from what you guys can see, it's a wanted poster. And it has very crude, not very good drawings of each of you. But there are definitely distinguishing landmarks that pick you guys out. And it's a wanted poster, and at the bottom it says wanted for the murder of Zanathar.
Hold it.
Herlin just has the biggest smile on her face, and she's like, it's poetry.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, darling, that's so sweet. They want you, and it's not, yeah.
Solstice looks at...
There doesn't seem to be a reward posted. So is this just, they just want us?
So at the very bottom,
they want us for?
There is a reward section at the very bottom.
Can we roll for reward?
But the reward is like really small. It's like a couple pieces of gold. Like it's not a lot.
GTA.
Come on!
Only level 1. We got like way more than enough time. They can't be.
Solstice is cry laughing as she's heaving over and over, and she's like, oh my god, can I please keep this poster? This is my favorite one that I've gotten of myself so far. Really, honestly, it would be one of my favorites. Can I please? I'd love to frame it.
Please take it. Yeah, of course.
Oh, fabulous. And she rolls it up and sticks it into her pocket.
And she says, Mr. Man, I will have you know, though, I did get a message through Sending Stone from Alicia, and she seems... she obviously knows that Zanathar has died, and she seems rather upset, and was asking me if you had anything to do about it. You know how I am. I don't really get into these matters between quarrelsome people and that, so I didn't say anything.
Perfect. But, we can go on account of not of Mr. Man to clear his name. Well, wait, that does. It'll be fine.
I have questions for the Madam and Mr. Man.
Have more.
Ask those questions.
I will go after you, good sir.
Two questions that are related. The first, how many guards are in this city? Two, how many guards would have to die for the chief to show up here?
Mr. Man, he kind of sits up a little taller in that. I wasn't expecting that. And Madame Zidane just kind of looks at you and says, "Sweetheart, listen, I don't know what you know of the hags. They don't care about us. The ones that are here have just been given this assignment because they bid on it and they got it, and now they get to run around and tell us what to do. They don't know, nobody in the higher ups actually cares about them being here. They just care that they get their taxes from them."
Yeah, that's my point.
Because if they're dead, they can't collect taxes.
Roughly.
Oh, how many guards?
Well, yes, if we're going to leave this establishment, how many people are actually in the city looking for us? And then follow-up question to that answer would be, how many of them would have to die for the chief hag to want to come to us?
I mean, I've got a way to find out. I don't think people will like it.
Madam Zanathar, firstly, let Alison go first. I'll be patient.
Mr. Man, where is Alicia at? You know that she wrote to us, and she clearly messaged us. I'm really worried about it. Where exactly is she?
Mr. Man looks over at Madame Zidane because he kind of folds his hand and he shrugs. He's like, "I don't know." And Madame Zidane goes, "Well, I think that she was in town. We're supposed to meet up for coffee tomorrow, so I think she's here, but I don't know where she's staying. She said she didn't want to stay at my inn, which is fair."
So when is your meeting tomorrow?
Oh. And Madame Zidane, she like purses her lips and she's like, and she's thinking about it. And she's like, "I think like 2. She was going to come over around then. 2 in the afternoon.
Do you possibly have a smuggler's tunnel under your tavern? Might be a quick way for us to get out of here.
She puts her hand to her chest and like pulls back a little bit and she's like, "I am appalled that you would even ask such a question. Of course I do. What tavern keep wouldn't?" And,
My type of gal.
Here's the next question. Will I fit in it?
oh, well, it is a bit of a tight squeeze, but I think you'll manage.
Wally, if the goat can fit in it, you can fit in it.
That's a better question. Can the goat fit in it?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, but me? Nah.
Goat's more ambitious than you are.
So Mr. Man, he kind of like stands up and kind of moves the chair back to kind of like call everyone's attention forward. And he says, "Listen, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what we're going to do, but clearly this is going to be an issue. We need to figure out what Alicia knows. We need to figure out." He kind of readjusts himself. He says, "I'm hiring you guys for the task of getting this artifact. However you see fit to get that artifact is your own business. Don't lose sight of that main goal."
Well, that's the case. So Alicia wants to meet Madame
Zidane.
So if she's meeting her the next day, that means we can a little bit of rest. Maybe go get some supplies. Maybe we could borrow Alicia after their meeting.
I think there are many ways to get this artifact. However, I feel like the situation has become more complicated. I do think your idea of meeting with her after coffee with Madame Zidane tomorrow is a good idea. If you have to go out and look for supplies, I recommend the buddy system or my new favorite person, the Getaway Gecko, can go solo.
Absolutely, Star Child.
It was one of those just in case we need it. In case anybody's running a little low, needs something to work on, needs something to mess with, wants to put you down. It'd be nice.
Why don't we have one of us go with in this meeting to be kind of like a spokesman to the rest of us?
Mrs. Andar, would you be opposed to Solstice joining you?
For tea? Oh, dear God. Well, I can't say no to that. We always do love company, but be warned, we do get up to quite a bit of an information sharing, as one might say.
Oh, I love to gossip. You would love to hear about Crazy Harry who lives down the street. Oh, goodness, he gets into the craziest ruckuses over where I'm at.
At which case, Wahlock scoots himself on the seat, gets down, and he starts to head for the door. Well, I don't know about you, but I need some sort of excitement somewhere.
I didn't say I was done with you, dwarf. Get back here.
Bah!
Do not disparage the dwarf.
I would like to partake in the gossip.
All right, Star Child, we'll walk through a couple pointers, obviously, before tea time, but I think you've got it. I think you got it in you.
Yes, I feel I will be very, very excellent at this at this trade.
You know what this means, though? You guys are going to need a headquarters. Let me make up some rooms for you guys upstairs, and that way you can stay here a little while. And she starts to head out to the door, and then she stops, turns around, she says, "Oh, also, if you're looking to maybe distract the guards, come see me at the bar, and I can give you some directions to their headquarters," she says in air quotes. It's more like a rundown shack, if you ask me. And she darts out the room to go prepare some rooms for you guys.
Wally, the moment that he heard go to the bar, he's gone.
Gone.
He's like the stool. I'm not sure how high the stool is. He's already sitting there at the bar. Just what does it take to get served?
Madame Zidane, she grabs a pint of mead and just whisks it down.
Which is funny because I believe we're in completely different rooms.
Exactly. You don't know.
Oh, I was just going to try and get inside the dwarf's head before he left.
You still have a chance.
Don't go in there.
Yeah, you can try.
Yeah.
You both will have to make Arcana checks.
You just hear a Gregorian chant.
Arcana, 20.
Don't worry about it.
What'd you get?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, I want to know what I hear from his thoughts. Wait, did you get a natural 1?
For a total of 7.
So with that, you try to reach into Wahlock's mind. I mean, as you're trying to reach in, there's just too much going on right now. Like, you're thinking of so many things, right? So you aren't able to hear any of his thoughts, but he just gets a rush of like 10 of the things that you're thinking in this very moment.
Who get Wally gets my thoughts?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Immediate
They're
migraine,
very
minus
quiet,
1
though.
damage.
They're like whispers.
Oh, so it's not like a bang of thoughts. It's more like a of thoughts.
It's
not a shotgun. It's not a shotgun.
No.
It's like an ocean wave.
Oh, I was hoping
Yeah,
for
it's
a
like a wave.
frying
It's like a
pan's
wave
worth
of
of
thoughts.
shot. Like, here you go, here's your thought.
I would like to think all that what is your Eridanus heard is just the Home Depot bum 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 bum. Just this.
What does Wally hear?
Does the gear think, I want to talk to the goat, I'm going to burn down the barracks? That's at least 3 of them.
So you hear those like almost whispers, like
What?
they're like,
I'm your intrusive thoughts for just a moment.
they're like, does the gear think?
What?
I want to talk
Huh?
to the goat.
He's looking
I wanna
around
burn
trying to
down
figure
the
out
barracks.
where the hell it's coming from. What? Oh my god, I need more. As he takes another drink.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say, Solstice?
Madame Zanar, might I ask how far the nearest soldier barricade or fort or whatever, their meeting places as a reason?
Yeah, so she kind of like strokes her chin for a second, and she's like, I think the closest place would probably be, it's about 2 or 3 streets over. 3 streets over. And it's this big building. It's very white. It looks very sterile, she says in air quotes. It's kind of a dump and like, not really that fun. But they put a lot of money into their nice things. You really can't miss it. It's very big. It's at least probably around 50 guards.
Alrighty then.
That sounds like a good place to cause a mess.
I would be careful.
Or it's a possible place to learn some information. It's important to know where your enemies lie.
And before you guys exit the room, Mr. Man kind of stands up, or he's already standing, but he looks at you guys and he says, I'm really excited to work with you guys, and I think that you are going to do a great job. I wish I could stay and be of more help, but I have other matters that I must attend to. I wish you all the best of luck. And if you need anything or need to reach me on this. And he pulls out a sending stone that's like the size of a pebble. And he hands it to Herlind and says, if you guys need to reach out to me, use that stone. And thank you so much for your help. And he looks out the door and he says, oh, it's you.
Who?
Are you guys gonna look at the door?
I was gonna leave,
Yes.
so
I gotta know, is Wally still at the bar?
I guess I turned to look. Who's that over there?
There's no one at the door. The doorway is empty.
Okay.
And Mr. Man has already vanished.
Of course he did. Of course. Classic exit. I love that guy. I love that guy.
That's what he does.
What you don't know is that he's actually Batman.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, Mr. Man is Bruce Wayne.
What are you guys gonna do then?
What's the time? I would know
Outside?
that.
Yeah,
what's
you
the
would.
time?
Yeah, you would. Dang it. Yeah, so it's probably, I'm gonna go with that they use the same time as we do in real life, because that's easier. So it's probably about 8 o'clock in the evening at this point.
Oh,
Getting
way
close
to- way to-
Oh, I didn't even realize that it was actually that time. That's awesome.
That's spooky.
That was very spooky. This is the second.
DM, you don't need to be connecting to that kind of frequency. Slow down.
What's
not
the
trying
next
to.
thing? I want to know what the date is.
You would know the date because you would probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because that would be different because I'm sure dwarves and humans have different ways for the dates.
They probably do have different calendars. Yep.
I'm not going to look it up because I don't want.
Solstice is sitting there and she's rubbing the earring that she has on one side, and she kind of just does it's been a while. It's been a while since the incidents have happened. Maybe it might be a good idea for somebody to take a look outside the tavern. We've all been in the tavern. The tavern is safe. We know this as of right now, but we don't know what's going on out there.
I actually have business that I need to handle on the streets before I bed down for the evening. I'm more than happy to go and check out outside.
Wahlock's still at the bar waiting for the information so he can beat up some guards.
We're fighting the guards tomorrow after tea or during tea.
You can wait there all damn night and drink for all I care.
Wally and Alison, we are distracting the guards tomorrow during tea. Yes.
Oh,
Correct.
it's tomorrow.
Correct.
I mean,
Damn, I should listen more.
Again, this dwarf decides to take off and go drinking and not actually listen.
Oh, and like you got better things to do with your goat and your shoddy armor and your.
I mean, you did have a flying gear come and hit you in the face.
you both are very similar. You have a gear, you have a goat. They both start with G. Be friends.
You know, he makes a good point.
You know what? Sometimes you're full of shit. Sometimes you make sense. This is not one of those times you make sense.
I have some stuff that I need to take care of before too much nightfall. I can come back if you want to fight guards tonight.
No.
I will be by your
I've got nothing
side.
better to do.
Weird. Fighting the guards might not be a wise idea. However, spying and maybe getting some information, possibly it's in our grasp. I know it's not the fun option for some of us who like to clunk around metal. However, it could be beneficial to us in the future if we find out some important information.
I'm not saying that I don't want to sneak it around. I am saying I'm not good at it.
While they're at tea, I can try to get us in sneakily. However, in the event that we are found, which when I run the probabilities, I find likely, I don't have any problems dispatching the people who seem to just be beating the poor around here for their own entertainment.
I think the best option would be to take a perimeter check for us. Make sure that our perimeters are safe. We can switch out guard if we need to. You can nudge one of us. That would be the safest option because we are in an unknown town. I hardly know any of you, but I have to trust you. And that's just how it is at the moment.
That's not a bad idea. Get a look around the town, figure out where we are, locate, general store.
The only thing is we have to be careful and stick to the shadows because we are on a wanted page. And not for much coin, mind you. That wanted page.
I plan on going and handling my business.
You care if I tag along with you, Eridanus?
This evening?
As this evening.
As right now? Absolutely. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Sure. I'm just gonna tag along, just to get out of the house.
I feel like the goat might draw attention to us, but shouldn't be anything we can't handle, I don't think.
Carry the goat.
I'll give him his can. He'll start being quiet.
I don't think we'll have any problems. Maybe we will. Would I know the distance at which I could communicate with Erland?
Any distance. Infinite distance.
It's a walkie-talkie like situation. Come over. Come in. Herlin, can you read me? Herlin, can you read me?
Inside Herlin's mind, I'm going to say I'm going to walk with Alison and the goat, and I'm going to say her name every so often, and if she can't hear me anymore, to try and remember how much time has passed when she was no longer able to hear.
A wise decision.
I want to speak in his mind and say, Okay, but be wary of that goat. It is not a rat. It is not to be trusted.
Hating on my goat, and I don't like it.
So, are you guys making your way out the door? Because if they are, Wahlock's gonna notice that people are moving, and he's like, "Wait, no."
Wally, did you want to come with us?
I've drank alone. I've drank alone too many times. I need to get off of it.
Which means you should drink more.
Would it be wise for you to go on the street in the state that you're in? You've had a couple at this rate.
Oh, I'll be fine. Should I make a Constitution check?
Oh yes, please.
Yes.
He jumps down from the stool that he's in.
Total 15.
Yeah, you're a dwarf. You've drank plenty of mead, and let's be real. Madame Zidane mead is good, but it's nothing like this.
It's not hard hitting.
No. You're able to get up pretty easily and walk.
It's not like the good shit back.
Nah, this is nothing. Are you kidding? This isn't even a buzz.
Thinner numbers, y'all. We can't have everybody going out there.
Well, in that case, I'll take a left.
Seems thoroughly convinced.
You can do a perimeter check in opposite directions, but I feel like that it should be a 2 and 2. Alison and the goat go in one way, Eridanus and Wally go the other. That way you both are in teams.
I am fine to bring along whoever I need to, and I will do the perimeter check, but I do have other business not necessarily right around the tavern, and I'm not saying I'm putting it as undue risk. However, I do have other business that I need to attend to before the night is out that may take me away from the tavern for
You
a
mentioned
little while.
business a couple times. Let's say this business.
I can't show you now because I can only do it once. You are welcome to come with me, but basically I go and house the homeless for the night, or at least around 10 of them if I can find them, and I make sure that they have a warm place to sleep at night.
You don't need to show me. I'm a street rat.
Homeless here?
I was born and raised on the street. I completely understand.
In Herlin's head, after hearing the question about the homeless here, I point out that I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are homeless almost everywhere. I don't think in the Gaian Forest because everyone seems to just live there. But anywhere where there are organics, there seems to be homeless.
There are not homeless in the Deadland.
Well, that is good to hear. Is that true, universe? There's no homeless in the Deadlands? Amazing. I wish to visit your home, Herland.
Oh, it's very lovely. Although I have heard from humans that it smells.
I do not have a nose.
Then you shall enjoy it much.
I'll take a perimeter with the goat. Hopefully, Luck is stable enough to walk by himself.
I'm gonna have Alison can make me a stealth check to see if he is able to
quiet the goat.
You're rolling for you. We will roll for the goat separately.
14 plus 2, 16.
Yeah, so now roll for the goat.
8.
Nah.
He also gets your stealth modifier, so you can add that on.
Yes, that is with my stealth modifier.
So you guys are doing the perimeter, and go ahead and give me a perception check. 18. You do your little loop around, and things seem okay. You get the glimpse of a couple of guards, and you think they might have noticed you, but they seem to go about their business, and you were a little bit afraid because that was the moment that your goat, Tinkin, he made a little bit of a sound.
Timkin.
But they seem to not notice. So you're good, and you're able to do your perimeter check without too much hassle. Things seem okay. You are in kind of like the middle of this town. So all of the trade and market stuff typically happen around here. Madame Zidane is right in the center. You do notice that it's quite lively at night, just as much as it is during the day. But a lot of the people that you're seeing now are not the same people you saw during the day. It seems to be a very different crowd that comes out at night and has gone around and are just looking at the different shops. You see that a lot of the fancier shops are actually closed, and there seems to be some more half put together shops or not as decorative shops that are still open.
Can I roll to see what sort of shop are nearby?
Sure, yeah, I can just tell you. As you look around, you see there's actually a big variety of different shops. There's a couple of magic item shops, it looks like, where they're selling different types of rings and weapons.
Smoke and mirror stuff.
Yeah. You can see a blacksmith shop that actually has a seemingly a little bit. He's like a 6-foot elf, and he's there hammering away at some type of sword. You think, but it's curved, so it's like a curved sword. And he has a ton of different armors and weapons also on display that seem to be for sale. You see a couple of different shops that give a variety of different food, including one that seems to have really hot oil, and they seem to be frying these types of fish that they get from the nearby river. It's they batter it and then fry it and put it on display to sell.
I go to the food stand and then buy food for the party.
Sure. Yeah. You walk up to the food stand and you see this grizzled old human. He has an eye patch, and he is standing at the fryer, kind of like shaking this like seems to be a metal basket that's like let into this pot of frying oil, and you can see that he's standing close enough to this pot that actually a lot of his hair on his legs has been singed because he's so close to the open flame. And he looks over at you and he's like, "Hey, what can I get you?"
You know what? I'm not going to think about the fact that I have star children. I'm just going to order 5 orders of fish and forget about that, because I'll figure out how that all works later. Order that many. I also comment on the fact that if he were to add a piece of copper bent into the right shape at the bottom, he has a splash shield, so it wouldn't singe him as much.
You some kind of blacksmith tinkerer person thingy?
I've smacked metal with hammer a few times.
You know, my uncle, back in the day, he used to be a blacksmith tinkerer thingy, and he did a great job, let me tell you. I didn't fully understand it, you know, my craft is more in like the foods and stuffs. But man, could that man make a sword. You saying I need a piece of copper?
Yeah, just a sheet of copper. You just need to bang it just where you stand at it. Just put a shield right around. You can see, if you were to look down at your own legs that have been singed probably since you were 5 and you can't feel them anymore.
Actually, since I was 4.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you notice that actually oil is singed, and if you were to put a piece of copper there, you don't even have to bolt it down and on the end of it so it doesn't singe and burn yourself.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to Eli about that one. You know, he's one of the best blacksmiths ever, and here's the thing, he's an elf, great guy, makes some good stuff. I'll talk to him later. He might have some ideas. Anyways, you said 5 orders of fish, right?
Yeah, 5.
Oh yeah. What were you saying before about assuming?
I assume the elf you're talking about is in the stand behind us. And I kind of referencing over my shoulder.
So he looks over, he's like, "That's Eli over there. The rhythm really helps me time how long I keep the fish in the oil, so it's really helpful." And he pulls the basket out of the pot, and starts to dump it onto the fish onto a plate. And then he begins to start to wrap them individually in this kind of weaved reeds. It's like reeds have been taken together and weaved into like this little pocket that he puts the fish in. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
22. Natural 20 plus 2, so it's 20.
So you notice very quickly, as you see him preparing the fish, on the post on the side of his shop, is the same wanted poster that shows all of you guys on there in vivid, terrible, mediocre detail.
So he's tossing the fish, reach up and just kind of grab it, pull it down real quick, and feed it to the goat, and he eats it. It's a 15.
Yeah, so you sweep it down real quick. Doesn't seem like anybody noticed. Good to go. And he then kind of scoops up the different meals into his hands, brings it over and drops it in front of you, and it's like, "There you are. Just be 5 silver pieces, please."
I gotta be honest, I don't know where my wallet is, but I do know that the stupid game gives me money at the beginning. So I flip him a 5, I flip him 1, I tell him to keep the change because I'm a cool guy like that.
He catches it, he's like, "Oh, thank you, good sir. Really appreciate your patronage." And he pockets the gold piece, and then make sure to tell your friends all about my store. You know, Madame Zidane, she actually uses my fish sometimes. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I'll let her know that I stopped by.
How did you know that you were staying at Madame Zindare's?
He walked out of the tavern that says Madame Zindare's Tavern on it.
Is it that far away?
Super obvious tavern is super obvious. Start to walk away, but like I pass the blacksmith shop on the way by. I don't actually stop to say hi, I just walk by observe.
I thought it was further down, like a little like a while around the block kind of a thing, and I was like, Wait a second.
It's pretty close. Yeah. So there's like a marketplace in front of Madame Zidon's.
Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like real far away to be like, wait a second. Wait a second.
A lot of these shops that he is seeing, like the one that he just walked up to, very much like pop-up shop kind of things. Like they are not there during the day.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
typically only at night. Yeah.
And as I walk by the front door, I see Eridanus there real quick, and I can switch to it. And then because I just assume he's at the front door. I don't think he's totally left yet.
Yeah, I'll just say thank you. And
On that part, we're gonna switch over to Wahlock and Eridanus. What are you guys gonna be doing?
first, Eridanus is going to be like, okay, we got to find I guess we got to find some homeless folks so we can bed them down for the night.
All right.
So I guess we start walking until the lights go dim and people are just on the street. Eridanus has been here for a little bit. Do I know? I would assume based on what I do, I would know where the homeless kind of gather.
Like check the alleyways,
Yeah.
the obvious, where people usually don't.
Look for burning barrels behind buildings.
Mhm.
Give me an investigation check.
Both of us?
Just Eridanus. If you want to do one too, you can. But this is specifically, I'm using investigation as like a memory thing. But
Gotcha.
I have that keen mind. I got a 10. I also want to be up front with Wally. I'm not trying to hide. I'm just walking down the street.
I'm not either. If anyone comes to try and they're done for.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And there's markets, there's all these pop-up shops that are here, and you're walking by, and lanterns are raised, and there are people. You actually walk by, and there's actually a couple people dancing as this bard is playing music, and has like a pot open for donations. And you guys are walking down. It's very lively. People are excited and hopping around and everything. And as you guys start to go beyond the lights, you notice that everything seems really quiet. And the further you go, you start to enter into what seems to be more housing at first. And then you realize it's not really housing. It's actually just a lot of closed shops that are very pristine, have like ornate pillars and beautiful signs. And the further you go, you see that like ahead of you is a lot of this like housing district that exists. But go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Well, I'm starting to get interested because this is out of his norm. He's used to dwarven cities.
I saw that. That was a
I don't have to say anything. All I'm trying to do is be a good person.
5 total.
yeah. So as you guys are walking,
We just have our eyes closed.
yeah, you are looking around trying to find people that maybe are need homes or something like that, or need a place to stay for the night. But you quickly notice that there's not a lot of people outside. And as you keep going, you actually run into someone who is running in the opposite direction that you guys are walking.
Like towards us.
Yeah, and they actually stumble into you, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry. I really am. My apologies." And they begin to continue running towards.
Watch yourself.
Well, hey, why are you running?
Who's asking? Who are you?
Well, my name's Eridanus. I'm not going to speak for my friend here if he doesn't want to give his name. But I'm searching for your less fortunate folks in order to give them food. I'm going to hold up the fish and a place to sleep for the night.
So he's very wary, and he looks at you and he's like, "Listen, I don't want any trouble, okay? I'm not here. I'm just going to the market.
Be on your way, good sir."
That's when Wahlock takes a step towards him, and he's like, "All right, I may not know who you are, but I know you're not anyone that you're saying you are. So you can either break it down for us, or I might have to break you down." And I want to roll an intimidation check.
I was gonna say that's intimidation. Yeah, that's intimidation.
I'll actually do it on D&D Beyond. Hiya!
I don't recommend that.
What do you mean you don't recommend it?
What'd you get?
Rolling really bad. What'd you get?
23 total.
I rolled 2 natural ones in a row.
It was bad.
Damn.
It was really
Damn.
bad.
Three in the night.
It's so bad. I hate D&D Beyond. So yeah, he's rightfully scared. He's like, "Are you guys with the guards? Listen, I already told them everything I know. I don't know anything else.
No. We're not any guards. All I want to know is why you're running. Because no one runs in the middle of the night for no good reason."
He takes a look and he sees the fish in Eridanus' hands. And he goes, "Is that from Kiki's Friary?"
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea. Our friend with a goat got it.
"I see. So you guys aren't with the guards."
No.
No.
Now, can you explain why you were running and what you were running from before they possibly get here?
He kind of looks around nervously, and he says, "Did you see some? I'm trying to make my way to Madame Zidon's. It's too close to the curfew time, and if I'm not there, then well."
I think I understand what you're saying. You think that we're guards and we were going to stop you and beat you up because it's dark outside.
Beat me up?
Oh, I just assumed that's what guards do.
And he laughed. He's like, "Are you kidding? No. Like I could be thrown in prison for days, for weeks, years, even
for being outside because it's dark."
Wahlock takes a look at Eridanus the best he can, looking up. I think we may need to change our priorities a bit here.
I'm thinking that I agree with you. Mister, do you eat food? I'm going to look at the stranger.
He looks very confused, and he's like, yes?
Here, I'm not going to need this for a minute, and I'm going to hand him the fish.
He takes it. He's like, I'm not going to say no, he's frying.
By the way, so it's dark here. You're trying to get to Madame Zidon's before you get...
Eridanus, I got it. If you're looking for Madame Zandar's, and he explains, you just go down this path, good long ways, it'll be on your right. In fact, I could probably see it from here, unless it's further than 60.
He nods and says, like, thank you. I do know where it is. I make the trek there most days.
You can go, man. I think we got all the information from you we need.
He again looks confused, looks at the fish. He's like, thank you.
Do you want to go to jail? Like, I don't want you to go to jail. I think you should go. If you're worried about it, you should go.
He immediately freezes up and he's like, yep, and he turns around and he runs back towards Madame Zidon's.
I'm going to turn to Wally and I'm going to say, now I don't want to assume what you're willing to do tonight.
Oh, he reaches into like this he's got like a little pouch, right? And he reaches in and he pulls out, you notice these gauntlets, and he just puts them on and just lams them together. It's like, I've been waiting to test these. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Solstice is sitting at the bar like, I have a very, very bad feeling.
How far are we from the building that was supposed to hold guards?
Yeah, so you guys have trekked quite a ways. So you're probably, I would say you're actually probably a couple streets past it at this point. Because the guards tower is like the guards barracks or whatever is like a street or two back. And it's in the housing district, like or not in the middle of the housing district, but in the middle of like the
would we know this
shopping district rather than the working place. Madame Zidon would have showed you on the map when you were at the bar. Yep.
I'm thinking, Wally, that I think that the odds for this town need to be evened.
I agree.
I think we should burn down while they're sleeping, while they're inside.
You know,
Great. This is gonna go so
you know what?
well.
I was going to wait.
He's while he's sitting and thinking. I'm thinking. I agree, but I think I know just how to do it.
You have my attention. This is a collaboration. We are both criminals now.
Oh, I've been a criminal already for a long time.
It's not new to me. I don't hold myself to their standards. So
exactly, because their standards are corrupt.
Absolutely. And it just seems to be getting worse. That man was afraid to go to prison for days because he was outside in the night. Nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Both of us or just one of us?
Yep, both of you guys.
I have a total of 16.
So Eridanus, actually, I should probably roll. So you guys look around, and you don't notice anything at first. Wally, you hear what sounds like wind behind you, but it's very brief and very quick, and that's about all you hear.
Must have been the wind.
Nice. How would you go about? I say we start walking that direction and then have this discussion.
Yeah, I agree. These past couple months, this weird magic started. You know, I've been starting to do magic and things. I've been toying around with it, playing around with it, and I've noticed that if I think really hard and I concentrate, I've been able to create what I can only explain as a fireball.
Yes.
And it's a pretty dang big one. Now, I think if we can take out... we need to take a look at this building first. Because
Of course.
it's not my first rodeo. If we can take out some of the people around him and then either make a big explosion or we can do it quietly, I think I'm more in tune with the explosion because then it'll give us a chance to get away. There'll be a lot more
Agreed.
havoc, and
Agreed.
we can just slip back into the bar and no one will be any the wiser.
Agreed.
But first things first, we need to check this place out.
I concur with everything that you're saying, and I can also make a ball of fire that is large.
Oh,
So-
shoot. You know what? Just for the certain occasion, it may be...
This is what I get for
I'm gonna give
leaving
it a
the two
shot.
of them together, isn't it?
And you notice Wally's just sitting there and he's just kind of he's taking his index fingers and he's just doing small circles on the temples of his head. Jacob, it happened again.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I lost.
And this was by
Yeah.
intention.
This is by intention.
This is by intention.
Okay.
He wanted it.
You hear the sound of what you think is wind again. But this time, you know that it's not the wind as the gear comes flying toward you.
So the gear comes flying and he just grabs it.
You grab it.
Like-
Okay.
And he's like, okay, now this, I'm not sure what we can do, but I've got ideas. It's been a pain in my ass.
That is the gear that you've tried to get rid of, but seems to choose to come back.
Correct.
Interesting.
But I've noticed it's able to focus things.
Oh.
So, Jacob, where would you say we are right now?
If you guys have been walking at this point, I would say that you are getting close to the guard headquarters.
Can we see the guard headquarters?
If you look up, you can see the tower at the center of the guard headquarters that is able to be seen above the buildings, but you don't see the base of it quite yet. You'll need to
Okay.
probably turn the corner in order to see it.
Now, Eridanus, I want to be perfectly reasonable with you. And not reasonable, but honest. With this, I've noticed I can double how far this fireball can go. We don't have to get up close and personal, but that will make it a bit tougher.
Well, I have to be...
Like, to be completely honest with you, it will take it from 120 feet to 240 feet. That's a pretty big distance.
Yeah,
That it is.
Distance.
Honestly, for you might as well be closer to... We should get to the other side, closer to the tavern, get distance that way, and then you can launch it. But then you're more likely to be seen doing it.
Fair. Because I'm thinking maybe if we just want to try sending a message instead of, taking their lives first.
Good idea, y'all. Sounds like a great idea.
No, I'm not against taking lives. I just know to some people, lives are precious. And in my life, I've had a lot. Honestly, a lot of the war machines that have been out on the field that are dwarven side, I've made them. So death is just a normal, regular part of me.
I value life, but there also is the reality that sometimes there is rot that needs to be cut away.
You gotta prune. You gotta
prune. And I'm not here to necessarily pass judgment. However, when I look at the world around us, these people are afraid of the guard. Everything we've heard tonight pertains to that tower. It goes beyond that, down to the capital itself. I'm not saying we have to start this fire right now. I'm not even saying we have to start a fire. I'm saying that
start the fire.
a fight is going to be inevitable.
Correct.
Maybe a fight can be avoided if we just have them like a chicken with their head cut off.
Yeah, catch them off guard.
And I think no one necessarily is going to die if you light the building on fire, right?
Yeah.
If we light the building on fire, they could get out.
Again, maybe let's take a look at this.
That's for the universe to decide.
Yeah, Jacob, can we see it yet?
Sure is.
Can we see it yet?
So once you guys turn this corner and make the decision to turn the corner, you will be able to see it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna keep walking until we can see it.
Okay, so you turn the corner and you see this huge building. It definitely looks like very castle-y. It's made of very different types of stones, but they are actually fairly decently cut stones.
So it's like a ginormous building, not like, a little garrison. It's like an entire, almost micro castle.
It's not like a micro castle per se. It's a very heavily fortified fort, right? So we're talking about there's definitely
barricades.
There's a wall around it, and inside that wall then has a tower that comes up, and then a couple of different
walls and walls upon walls upon.
It's just got the one big wall. There's the one big wall, and then there's buildings inside that courtyard of the wall.
Gotcha.
And then there's a tower that is able to overlook the city.
Okay. Is there anyone on patrol?
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
10.
Yeah, so you can see at the front of the gate there are 2 guards standing at attention with spears in their hands, and they're just kind of standing there. You see one kind of like starts to nod off, and then he like pulls himself back up together. And the other guy looks at him and says, "Oi, what are you doing?" So like, "I'm sorry, man. I'm just really tired. You know, it's been a long day. We had a lot going. Would you quit it?
Do I recognize either of them?
You got us in trouble already. Don't get us in trouble again." No, yeah, you recognize them. They're the same 2 guards from earlier at the
Are they the only guards that I can see?
why don't you give me a perception check? They're the only ones that
That-
Wahlock sees currently.
17?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, you notice those 2 guards. You also notice that there are probably about like 1 guard. There's probably 2 that you see passing each other on top of the wall, and they seem to be doing like circuits around the wall as like a perimeter sweep.
All
All
right.
right, Eridanus. It's either now or never. What are we gonna do?
I'm gonna look at the one that I know spit on the dude when I like first walk through town, and I'm going to attempt one more time tonight to try and get into Wally's head.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an Arcana check. Both of
Both
you.
of us?
Yep.
Nat 20.
16.
So you guys have been walking for a while. You've been talking about the different things that are going on in the city. You guys have been talking about justice and caring for people and balancing the scales of justice. And as you 2 are here in front of this giant building, through the relationship that you guys have started to build, you try one more time to reach out into Wally's head. And it is so easy. You guys link together and you are not only able to talk to him, but you can hear what he's willing to say to you as well. So what do you say?
Wally, don't panic.
Immediate panic. Immediate panic.
Do you see the one on the right?
Not
I'm just assuming
panicking.
it's the one on the right.
Yep,
I'm
works.
just making this.
That works.
Yeah, and you hear, yes, I see him.
We're not going to burn this building down. It's made of stone. I don't think this plan is going to work. However, we're going to begin to walk. You are going to cast that fireball at him. I am going to cast Pass Without a Trace, and we are going to walk into there pretty sure that man is dead. He does not get to see tomorrow morning.
I will have you know, that's how close they are. He may not be the only one.
The second one's just as bad.
Fair enough.
But him in particular,
Say no more.
So you guys start to walk up?
we're not going to walk up to them because he can do it from, you said 240 feet away?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to walk until we get to like that 200 feet away mark. And then the moment he casts, I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace, and we're going to
right.
head off into the market.
So you guys get about 200 feet away, and Wahlock begins to cast his spell.
First, he takes the gear. And he
Yeah.
throws it out. It goes about 100 feet or so.
So as you're doing that, you're going to do that, and we're going to cut real quick.
Oh, okay, I like this.
To
Yeah.
Herland and Solstice, who are currently still in the tavern. What are Herland and Solstice doing?
Well, Solstice was chewing on a toothpick, and she during a portion of that situation, she kind of had one of those moments. You know, those moments when you feel something wrong is going to happen. She goes, "I don't like it. I don't like it, Herland. I do not like it. Something's telling me this is not a good idea. Why did I let those guys out there? I'm the one who could have snuck up on them. Why did I let?" This is what I get for wanting a break. Herland, question for you, hon.
Yeah.
Can you talk to Eridanus at all anymore? Or are you way out of bounds? Like, he said he was going to try to stay in contact with you.
Oh, yes. Well, I haven't heard anything from him, but, I can most certainly try. And she, like, closes her eyes really tight. She thinks really hard. And she, like, is trying to connect to Eridanus.
Okay.
Do I have to roll something for that?
Nope. You do
So
not.
I can just connect with him?
Yep. You just say what you want to say.
So I say, Eridanus, can you hear me?
Universe?
So in that moment, as Wahlock is about to like throw out his gear, you hear a voice in your head, Eridanus. And it is Herland.
Yes, Herland.
Oh, good. And then I open my eyes and I look up at Solstice and I'm like, oh, yes, I can contact him. And then I close my eyes again and I say, Eridanus, I say, Eridanus, Solstice is kind of freaking out and she has something she'd like to say to you. And I open my eyes.
Freaking out is a bit of a stronger term, hon, but the long and short is I have a bad feeling, and when my gut tells me something's going on, I know something's going on. What are they doing? What the hell are they doing?
I got something
Okay, so
going
Solstice would like to know what you are doing because she feels something bad in her gut, and it is not hunger.
Herland, while we were with Mr. Man, you said you would rather not know. Is that true now?
I'm just the messenger.
But the reality is that you would have to know in order for Solstice to know. So I do not want to give you information beyond your consent.
And I look at Solstice and I say, how important is it for you to know what's happening?
Merlin, you know how there's two different sides of a coin. Some may say that represents life and death. In this regard, I would think that it would be rather important if those two didn't decide to do something that could possibly lead to disaster and possible human life waste. Or, us having to go to jail or something like that. All I wanted them to do was, walk the perimeter, and it's been at least an hour. They can't have been out that long.
It's definitely been at least an hour, for sure.
Yes, it does not take that long to walk perimeters. I shall ask him. So I tune back into Eridanus. I say, okay, Eridanus, you have my hearty consent. What is it that you are doing?
When I was walking around before Mr. Man came to me this morning, a guard was beating a man for trying to eat. I am making sure that guard never beats another man just trying to eat ever again.
And I open my eyes and I say, oh, Solstice, good news. Eridanus is having a lovely chat with a man. They're going to talk about basic human rights, and he's going to change his mind about cruelty.
Yay! 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 I love it when the DM walks away. I love when the DM walks away from the table and puts his head in his pillow and screams. It's good. How the story's going well.
Sorry.
Curveball of a lifetime. No one ever expects it.
Solstice looks at, it's Harold, right?
Herland.
Herland. I don't know why my brain died there. She looks at Herland, and she calls for, oh gosh, what's her name? Mrs. Zangief?
Xanda?
Madam
Zangief.
What is it? How do you spell that? I need to know.
Zandar?
Zadan.
Zadan.
Yep.
It's with a D.
Madam Zindan.
That's why it's...
Madam Zindan,
How can I help?
how far away is that smuggling tunnel, and where does it exactly exit? Do you know?
Well, the smuggling tunnel is obviously right under the tavern. She says in a quiet voice, and she's like, the tunnel is kind of a fair term. I like to think of it no more as a network. Kind of leads to different areas in the city, that kind of thing. Some of the places have been closed off because of the guards finding out, but we've made sure to keep the rest of the network pretty well secure.
All right. With that being said, Harold, Herland, gosh, I need to get that better. Herland, I think it's about time that the two of us handle some business. Are you ready to handle some business?
I have never done such a thing before, but I am prepared to try
You're
new
ready.
things
You're ready.
that are not
All right,
chores.
Mrs. Zindar, where is the entrance to the tunnel? The tunnel.
Don't forget Allison's there too.
Alison, are you ready? I think it's time for us to take care of some business. I feel like we ought to be out there. I feel like we're being left out.
I'm not as sneaky as you two, so I'll hide.
All right.
Everybody in the tavern, give me a perception check.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
19.
Wait, you have a thing. You have a thing to re-roll.
Yeah, it's a luck thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Feature and traits. Where's my luck?
It's all the way down. She's using one of her luck points to re-roll.
Sweet.
Much better.
11.
11 plus
perception, which is 3, which makes it 14.
So 14, 19, and then Herland, what was yours?
I got 6.
Fair enough. Mine was going to be a 3.
Herland, you are too excited about the possibility of adventure right now to notice what's going on around you. You were just focused on that. Alison and Solstice, as you guys are talking about a tunnel, you look around you, and at the bar, there are two beings that have joined you, both donning dark black cloaks. And they seem to have taken positions on either side of your group.
Miss Sandar,
Yes, dear.
what is your policy on bar fights?
Oh, they're dreadful things. I'd rather not. I mean, sometimes they can be enjoyable, but typically, I have to be, an entrepreneur and such, and be, a community leader and say no, but, why do you ask?
How mad'll be Mr. Manby if we ring up his tab?
I ring it up all the time.
It seems to me as though two shadowy individuals have showed up in our party.
And at the hearing of shadowy individuals, they turn to look at you guys, and they lower their hoods, and a voice says, well, I think you guys are the ones that match the description. And they stand up, and then you also notice that behind you, two more of these cloaked figures stand up from where they're sitting in the bar and start to move towards you guys as well.
Are we about to have...
And at that point, we cut back to...
Whew. I was thinking we were about to have a two different fight scenes happening.
We cut back to Wahlock and Eridanus, who are currently in the middle of trying to shoot a fireball, correct?
Mm-hmm. So, Wahlock throws his gear, goes out about 100 feet, and it stops perfectly in the middle of the air.
Okay.
As if it's kind of like a magnifying glass, and it's just there.
Right.
As if like a direct line from him to gear to person.
How far are we from the Crossroads Tavern if we're like 230 feet away from the...
You guys are boots of miles away.
Like how much damage do you do to the...
No, I want to know what the distance... After he launches the fireball, what distance do we need to cover to be back into the tavern?
So if you guys are 250 feet away from the building itself...
Like 230-ish, but yeah.
230, sorry, yeah. Then it would probably be like, not quite double, but probably about 300 feet away from the tavern. Because
That's interesting.
Probably like 330. Because the tavern is probably about 100 feet away from the actual building. And, of course, that's going through like back alleyways and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
after he threw this, he's channeling and he's doing all these motions with his hands, and he's kind of mumbling to himself. And you can see this blue, almost flame-like just aura starting to come from his feet and go outwards. And you notice a blue fireball, a blue ball just coming into his hands. And next thing you know, he's almost like he's got in other words, like kind of like a baseball, and he's targeting, and he's got it's almost like it's in his hand, but also in his hand is the gauntlet. It's the strangest thing, and he's like, all right, yeah, and he takes a punch at the air, and that blue ball goes flying directly to the gear.
And I think Fireball is just a spell that happens, right? You don't have to roll for it. It's a dexterity saving throw?
Yeah, it's a saving
Correct.
throw, I believe.
Correct. I found out it's actually 150 feet. So with this, it would be 300 total, but no one's asking.
That's okay.
So
I'm a little bit asking, because that could get us a little bit close to the tavern.
Well, he's still learning. He's still learning.
It'll be fine.
And it goes through the gear. And the gear flashes with blue everywhere. And it's like as if it ate the fireball. And next thing you know, it shoots out the other side of the fireball with almost the same amount of velocity it had. Directly towards Mr. Person who did wrong.
So as this is happening, you're chanting that the guards, they're just kind of like looking at each other.
I forgot to mention, when he punches, a giant 5 feet around him, a blue flame explosion comes starting from the top of him down and out around, kind of like blue smoke, but it's blue flame and wisps.
Yeah. Okay.
Out around him as he punches.
So this fireball, you punch it into the gear then shoots it out, and the guard is standing there, and the one looks at the other and he's like, "Oi, can you take a look at this?" So I go, "I don't want to take a look at it." It's like, "Please. I don't. Does this look infected to you? I feel like you hit me really hard." It's like, for the last time. Like, it's fine, all right? I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not a doctor. And as they're having this conversation, oh, fuck.
Do you need to know what fireball is?
They both fail the save. So they're just standing there. He's like, come on, can you take it? Look, man, I think I might be infected. I might need to go talk. You just want to get out at night. Whoa, what is that?
I'm getting my dice ready. I'm getting my dice ready. I'm getting my dice.
Deal damage.
It is 8d6.
Holy shit. What do you mean it's 8d6? What?
It's fireball. It's the most broken thing in the game.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's insane. Oh my god.
Right. One-handed roll. Here for one of them. This is 12. 18 plus 8 is what? 26?
Nope.
Shit.
I'm guessing that's more than health they have.
Oh yeah, no, they're dead. I need to do something real quick.
By the way, it's a 20-foot radius sphere on the center. That's the explosion. Yep. It's a ginormous explosion.
It's a huge explosion. So the explosion goes off. They burn to a crisp like that. And
no
all
pain.
that's left is
and
charred
Wahlock
armor
is like,
and
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
And you hear sirens start to go off.
Shit.
I've already cast Pass Without a Trace, and we've
okay.
The moment it made contact, I had already like gravitationally started tugging on Wally to head towards the tavern and casting Pass Without a Trace.
So go ahead and give me a perception check.
So it looks like 15 was my best.
What do you got, Wally?
Oh, what am I supposed to roll?
Perception.
5. He's too excited. The fact that he was actually able to pull this off perfectly.
That's amazing. Yes.
To the point that he forgot about his gear, which is just kind of floating out in the wind now.
I love that. So as you start to tug on Wally, Eridanus, you start to rush back down the road you came on, and all of a sudden, there is a voice from the shadows, from one of the alleyways, and all you hear is, impressive. And as you hear that and run by, another figure steps out of the alleyway right after and faces you, again wearing this black cloak, and steps in your way to block your path.
Shit. I knew it wouldn't have been this easy. Well, Eridanus?
I'm going to stop to Wally inside his head. I'm going to say, in for a penny, in for a pound?
More like in for a fire, in for a flame.
I'll stop and see if they do anything. I'm gonna freeze. Yeah. I'm gonna put my orbs up.
So seeing that, so you hear the same voice step out and be like, but it was really stupid. And you see that another figure steps out of the alleyway, also in a cloak. But this one has like purple, kind of like a purple collar with a purple stripe that goes directly down and fades off into like the tips of the cloak, right? Kind of like a vestments strip. And the voice says, if you want to deal with the guards, feel free. But if you don't want to deal with the guards, follow me. And she walks back into the alleyway again.
Wait, is Wally able to talk into Eridanus' head? Or is it only one way?
He initiated the link again, so yeah, you can talk back.
Okay, so he's just gonna think, maybe we can get out of this. Or, I think we should follow them. Worst come to worst, we'll just have to kill them too.
Yeah, that's exactly what Eridanus is thinking. He's like, sure. Eridanus is pretty sure that he has at least 2 more big tricks up his sleeve, so he's willing to just let this play out until he doesn't need to anymore. So yeah, Eridanus will be like, well, this time out loud, well, Wally, I don't want to have to deal with the guards, and start following.
Okay. So you guys start to head into the alleyway, and this bigger being that stepped out in front of you also follows you. And you see that the other figure with the blue or the purple vestments pushes in one of the stones, and the wall kind of just like moves to the side. Like it pushes in and then moves to the side.
And so like Harry Potter.
Kind of, yeah. But there's a secret passage there, and she walks in.
I'm following until something bad happens.
Okay.
Is it dark? How, like, because remember, dark vision.
Well, I glow.
Oh, do
It
you?
looks. We'll
I can
get to
glow,
what
yeah.
the tunnel looks like here in a second.
Okay.
So as we switch back, we're gonna switch back to Herland, Alison, and Solstice, and you guys are now surrounded by 4 figures in cloaks. One of them has put their hood down, and what is standing before you is a woman who seems to be in her like early 30s, has very white hair. She is donning the same dark cloak. But you see that instead of purple collar investments, it's actually green. And she reaches into her cloak and pulls out a pair of circular glasses and puts them on. And she says, "We've been looking for you guys for a while now."
Solstice backs toward the backs to backs with like Allison and
Herland.
Herland. Thank you. I gotta get better about names.
You'll get it.
Okay.
Allison Herland, and is kind of like looking toward the group, like with her staff ready. We don't want to have a fight, Miss.
Okay.
Well, one more
I think,
time.
like, super
One more
obvious.
time. Sorry.
He was saying that he like. Okay, I'll interpret. He said that
Oh,
kind of like the stars. He
we're
just
all
gave.
standing.
Go ahead.
Basically, Star Wars. They all kind of look at each other in the third movie. They're all in the same pit and about to throw hot into the starlight. They're all gonna give each other the nod. That means something not happened.
Every
Every time
It's
he
Star
goes to
Wars.
explain. Yeah.
They give each other the nod. You know.
Yes. Okay.
I looked at the goat. I gave the goat the nod. The goat is doing something, but it's not part of the conversation. The goat's kind of just ruffling around. I was like,
Got it.
what are we doing?
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. So she looks at you, Solstice, and she says, "You don't want to fight, huh? Tell that to Zanathar." And she pulls out 2 daggers, and
Before she can do anything, as soon as she starts to pull out the daggers, can I cast a spell on her? Because I already have been suspicious.
sure. What spell are you gonna cast?
I am going to cast Dissonant Whispers on her. So I close my eyes tight and I say, "Death looms overhead. All the things you said come crashing down while you lay on death's sweet crimson bed." And now she has to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Ooh, that's some good poetry. I like that.
Thank you.
Spooky. Hold
Fuck
on.
me. Okay, yeah.
Did you
failed.
come up with that right on the spot?
Yes.
That's
Good
great.
job. You should feel proud.
Damn, man.
Thank you.
She's good at that.
Instant ready spookage.
She got a natural 1. So what happens now?
Oh my god.
Okay, so since she failed, she takes a 3d6 physical damage and must immediately use a reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from it. The creature doesn't move.
Oh, so it's like
onto,
it frightened it.
obviously dangerous ground.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's afraid, so it has to use its bonus action to run away.
Yeah, so that happens. Go ahead and deal your damage.
Me? I roll the d6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3d6.
Yeah, you roll
Yeah,
the 3.
since you cast it, you're the one who deals the damage.
Yep, you roll.
It's self-damage.
So
It's so much
wait,
fun.
Okay.
The face is
Okay, so this is gonna sound really stupid, but 3d6 means that I roll 3 d6s,
Normal-
right?
Yeah, normal d6 dice. Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
No,
okay.
you're absolutely fine. You're good.
You're
No,
good.
no worries.
So 13 damage,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Cool.
You do the damage, you do the spell, and she gets hit with it, and she's like, "Oh!" And she kind of stumbles backwards, and out of just like the surprise, she knocks her glasses off, and she kind of freaks out and tumbles back behind the bar and starts to like scoot back towards the wall of the tavern.
So
And
since
she's like, what the hell are you?
My name is. Oh. Actually, I don't have to tell you. So you should leave immediately because you're a mean person, and it is not nice to threaten people.
You killed Zanathar. What did you expect me to do?
We
did
didn't
not
kill
Xanathar.
She gets up, she dusts herself off, and she's like, "I know for sure that it's you. I know that you guys are working with Mr. Man. That's what I've heard from my intelligence. And I also know that he and Zanathar have a history where he has, on multiple occasions, threatened him.
Alicia.
She kind of like pulls back and she's like, how did you know that name?
Oh, I did not mean to hurt you. Oh, I would never have casted that spell if I had known you were Alicia. We have been looking for you.
And
Not in a bad way, not in a bad way, not in a bad way.
No. We wanted to have tea and gossip, like
No.
normal
and
girls do.
crumpets and cookie.
Soft face.
Merlin, that's not a good thing to say at the moment.
I just kind of look for.
I'm sorry.
and
soft face.
Forgive me.
No, it's just bad timing, hon.
Madame Zidane kind of looks over and it's like, I told you they're different. I don't know what to tell you. And the being kind of like looks at her feet, and then she's like, she walks over and she says, my name is Alicia. I am Zanathar's assistant, or was Zanathar's assistant. And she kind of like just kind of breathes, and Madame Zidane puts her hand on her shoulder. And she's like, it's okay, love. In your own time. And Alicia then kind of straightens herself up and she's like, I need to know everything that you know about what happened.
We know very little. Although I must inform you that we did unconsensually read his letter.
Merlin, we read the letter because we found it on him when we came across him in the street. He was already dead when we found him, and he had a black wound that was seeping darkness out of it.
Her expression is just like extremely somber, and she says, but we still should have asked.
We're sorry for your loss, but we're looking for Zanathar for a very different reason, and it just so happens that he just was gotten from someone else before we even got close to being able to ask him questions.
Alicia kind of like looks up and she said, so you were looking for him and you found him already killed?
Pretty much, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Under her breath, you hear her say, that blasted Urgmug. And she looks at you and she says, so why did you want to talk to Zanathar?
It involves a mission we're on.
A mission from Mr. Man?
Yes,
In
but
a sense.
he was
She rolls her eyes.
suspicious.
Well, he does have a mustache, so obviously he's suspicious.
We don't have all the facts. We just know that we were hired to go and find some information to then find this particular thing, and then bring it back to said person. Needless to say,
Scepter thing of an emperor king with an artifact.
The King's Scepter? And she jumps
Yes!
back. What?
Erland.
Yes, that is what it was called.
Erland, maybe not the best. Okay. I mean, it's completely fair. At this rate, we were bound to be told at some point. Yes, that is exactly what we're looking for. Unfortunately, we don't have all the facts. We know that we were hired. We were hired to go and talk to Zanathar, and before we even got to him, he was already dead. We tried to revive him. One of our party is not here at the moment, and I have a bad feeling as to where they are.
Also,
Like you
I would
carry a
like to
terrible
say
healer.
that,
Did she just call me a terrible healer? Oh, this bitch.
Mr. Man did not explain to us what he would use said scepter for, only that it was good, which is not enough information to trust him.
I never know what's going on inside that man's head. I try not to linger there too long. He keeps a lot of secrets. He keeps a lot of his interests close to the chest.
Alicia, would it be best if we go to the booth in the back? We discuss things? Like, people?
She looks over at Madame Zidane, and Madame Zidane's like, that is a wonderful idea, my dear. We do have plenty of booths in the back, and actually, I think we have a couple of our friends that are going to be joining us here in a bit. I think it's in room 3? Or was it room 4? I always get those two mixed up. hold on one second. And she reaches down underneath the bar and she pulls out a little scroll and unfurls it and looks at it. And you can see like magic sparking off of it that's like changing as she's like waving her hands back and forth. And she's like, oh, yes. And she rolls it back up and puts it back under. And it's like, it was room 5, actually. Anyways, so go ahead and go back there and your friends will be there soon. And Alicia kind of looks over at Madame Zidane and she's like, are you sure that we can trust them? Madame Zidane looks at her and she says, no idea. But they are probably the closest ones that were there to the body and to his place where he was found dead. Might not hurt to hear him out. So Alicia just kind of like thinks about it for a second and she's like, fine. And she starts to walk back towards room 5 in the back.
We follow her. Mr. Wiggles is facing toward the other shadowy group and is like doing like these huffs, like you can't touch me, you can't do it.
They one of them like cocks his head to the side and he's just like, what the fuck? And then they also follow you guys as you guys walk back. As you guys enter the room, the back wall begins to shiver and then it opens. And out steps another cloaked figure who has purple vestments. The same black cloak with like the purple stripe down the front. And then behind her is Wahlock and
Eridanus.
Eridanus, sorry. And then the last being walks in behind them. And the wall closes behind them. And Madame Zidane says, oh, it's wonderful. I love my underground network. She's like, oh, but I have many things to do. You guys have fun. If you need any refreshments, don't be afraid to ring the bell and my assistant will come by. And she walks out the door.
And Wahlock's looking around like, what?
Shit. Would have loved to know where you two ended off.
Hey,
we made some new allies. Yes? Is that what we're doing here?
We're having chat.
Considering how much cinders and ashes are on top of you guys right now, questions, but I'm not
There
gonna
are no cinders or ashes. There's been no hootenanny.
If our
Yeah,
bounty
there's
has
no
been
tomfoolery.
raised, I will debate on turning you both in. Now.
The being in the black cloak with the purple stripe says, she looks over at Alicia and they say, yeah, they casted a fireball and killed 2 guards and sent off the alarms of the guards.
Whoa. Come on.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I cannot believe this. I was to
Hey.
believe that you were having pleasant discussions on matters of moral.
Hey,
Hurlin.
What the loss
Hurlin.
of walking the perimeter don't you understand? If you wanted to attack the fort, why didn't you ask the rest of us to join you? Not to mention the fact there's no thought behind this.
There absolutely was. Listen, we went to go house the homeless.
Did you end up housing the homeless?
No, because we
Did
couldn't
you end up
murder, not housing
because we
the
couldn't
homeless.
find. Eridanus is gonna slam his orbs onto the table and be like, "Listen, I was going to house the homeless. As we were going, a man ran past us. He seemed like he thought we were gonna beat him up. After Wally talked him down, well, really, he kind of threatened to break his legs, but he ended up telling us that that the guards arrest the homeless. There aren't people on the street at night because the guards take them off the street and put them in prison. Then we happen to be walking back. We happen to be walking back, and I'll admit that this was, a little teensy bit of an idea out of anger, but we tossed back and forth the idea of burning the place down.
And you could have come back for backup. At this rate, we are all a team. We have to think like one.
Or you could have tossed around the idea of pleasantly discussing to them that what they are doing is wrong.
I understand, and I need you to know that they know what they're doing is wrong. They just don't care.
At that point, Alicia is like, wow, Mr. Man really outdid himself with this group.
Yeah, he sure knows how to pick them, doesn't he?
Who is this person? I followed the person in purple here. This is Alicia?
Alicia.
Yes, she
Alicia.
tried to kill us.
Oh, well, shit.
But-
Well, why
but we
didn't
saw
you?
her
She didn't
post-
try to kill us.
conversation.
She just was. She just didn't know the situation.
So I'm over here trying to burn people, and you're over here trying to stab people.
Mr. Man, I could have done this by myself at this rate.
Alicia just puts her hand in her head, and she just gives a sigh, and she's like,
I assume you figured out that we haven't killed Zanathar yet. You figured that part out? You guys, your intelligence group has been able to figure that out?
No, that's what they thought that we did.
she
Okay.
she sends like a sideways glance, and she says, well, clearly not, now that I'm aware that my intelligence isn't as great as I thought. And she
Well, you and Mr. Man have a lot in common.
She at that point, the bigger being steps forward and puts his hand on top of like your shoulder orb and tries to force you down into one of the seats.
Yeah, I'll sit down.
Okay. And Alicia's like, stop, it's not worth it. You guys clearly are not coordinated enough to kill Zanathar, so it wasn't you.
Duh.
Well, yeah, we just met
Shit.
Damn straight we're
6
not
hours
coordinated.
ago.
But I don't know. I think Eridanus and I think we were pretty damn coordinated. I don't know about you.
Okay,
I
so
think
you,
the would've
so
went off.
Alicia, obviously you know that Zanathar has passed, but you don't know. Do you have any idea what the black aura that was leaking from him could have been? That we saw it from his stomach. He had definitely gotten stabbed, but we don't know what exactly was that or what could have caused it. We just know that we tried to revive him. Eridanus can speak for that.
Yes, point of order. There was a scream. We went out. I asked the guards who were present how long he had been dead. Actually, I'm going to turn to Herlin and be like, if there's anything left, you can ask them what they knew. But they tried to stop me from interfering, and I tried to revive him. But since the allotted past for my spell had gone past, he was too far expired. He'd been dead for over a minute by the time we got out there, which does not fit the time frame of the amount of time it physically took me to leave the tavern and get to the body, which means he was dead before I
Correct.
got there. Well, for a while.
Or he could have been extra dead.
Yeah, he
Just
was
putting
super
that out
dead.
there.
We wouldn't know.
So
We
at that
didn't
point,
ask him
he,
anything.
Alicia stops and she says, I'm sorry, what is your name, dear?
Solstice.
So you said that there's a wound on the side that had like this black goo or essence on it?
Necrotized.
I
It was,
come
like,
from the
necrotized.
desert. I don't really see wounds like that, but I can definitely tell you that it wasn't anything that I had ever faced before, and it didn't look like he could have survived it, for that matter.
So you see in her eyes that she's getting very angry, and she just mumbles under her breath, necrotized, of course. And she kind of like narrows her eyes, and she's like, so you were all on a quest for Mr. Man, is that correct?
If it's
More
all the
or
same
less.
to you, if it's all the same to you, Alicia, I would like to have some assurances that you're not just going to stab us.
It's a little late for that, as Herlin
Uh-oh.
has pretty much already given up as to what our quest is. So
That's
Let's
okay,
cut-
Herland. Honesty is the best policy. So you know about the scepter.
yes, we have to just go ahead and admit the truth. We were hired by Mr. Man to go and fetch the king's scepter, which is seen as an artifact, and he wants to use the artifact for something. We do not know what, but he's wanting us to fetch the artifact for him.
Alicia kind of just like folds her hands together and puts her elbows on the table and her hand on top of her chin, or her head on top of her hands. She says, all right, how about this? I have a pretty good idea of who killed Zanathar at this point. The necrotized blade kind of gives it away. It's a calling card, because you can't help but... And she just kind of rolls her eyes and looks up at the ceiling, and she's like, he can't help but show off. And you see that she's like trying to hold back a bit of tears. And she says, if you're willing to help me avenge Zanathar, I would be willing to give you copies of his records that would give you the location of where the scepter is going to be within the next couple of months.
Alicia, no offense to you, obviously, but you do kind of have us surrounded by your people, it comes across as a little threatening. So, may I ask, is it optional?
Is this a command request?
Yes, thank you.
She leans back in her chair and starts to tap her fingers on the table. Very similar to what you guys remember. And she says, fair. I mean, I believe it is an option. The option is either that or you leave without the information.
Okay.
I am willing to hear this proposition out, given some communication. There are parts of this that just still confuse me. You were Xanathar's assistant, yes? You were close to him?
Yes.
So do you know about his dealings, and I'm going to lean forward, with the chief?
She chuckles and she says, so you heard about Chief Hag, huh?
Well, we heard that he and your former friend / employer was close with him. That was his in with the inner circle of the king. He wasn't part of it, but the chief was his in. That's the intel we're running on. Hence my disdain for the guards. That wasn't.
She narrows her eyes a little bit, but she's like, yeah, Zanathar was one to play the game. It was some of his greatest strength and its downfall.
This is political, then. Is it possible that this chief facilitated the removal of Zanathar? Maybe not did the stabbing himself, but the guards didn't seem too terribly worried.
She looks at you and she says, do you know of a man by the name of Ergmug Sudagog?
I'm going to assume I have no idea.
She says he is currently the leader of the guardsmen here in this town.
Oh, is that the half-orc?
Yes. So you've met him.
Well, he tried to catch us, but we're pretty resourceful. Clouds and whatnot can be made. Despite what you think about our coordination, we're pretty clever and talented. I know Solstice is annoyed by our fireball thing, but it all worked out.
Hey, that
Solstice
fireball was fantastic.
It was sick. It was awesome. You deserve to be applauded.
Not annoyed. Not annoyed.
Wahlock goes to hold out his fist for a fist bump and only realizes that he's got orbs.
Yeah, I'm gonna orb you up. It's all good.
Hell yeah.
Alisa just kind of stares at you for a minute and says, if anyone had it out for Zanathar, it was him.
Oh, then why did you stop? Is he in the tower right now? We can finish burning that bitch down.
She just rolls her eyes and she's like, God, is there anyone that... Do you realize the intricate nature of this problem?
No. There's a problem, so I solve it.
She sits up and she says, if you cut off one head, another will be sent in its place. You can burn down that entire building. It'll take them 2 weeks to build up another one. And you know who's going to be the one building that?
Please say the chief.
No.
Oh.
The poor people.
Oh, yeah, I don't want that.
Wait. This can be good for us. This can be good. We can draw him out.
What does the King's Scepter have anything to do with this whole thing? The artifact. We don't know anything about it.
I know very little. Zanathar kept it very close and personal, but seeing as he has passed, I have records that he has left behind. And she kind of like holds back a little bit and closes her eyes, recomposes herself, and she says, I would be willing to offer these records in exchange for your help in proving that Ergmug is the one who killed Zanathar.
Oh, you need proof.
And what if he's not? What if we find out who the real killer is and it's not Ergmug?
Then, if we can bring that killer to justice, it's all yours. All the information I have.
Question. When is his funeral?
Her eyes get really sorrowful, and she laughs a little bit and chuckles, and she's like, Zanathar was never much for funerals. Said they're too sad. Said he wouldn't want something like that.
Oh, I see. So, what is going to happen to dispose of the body?
You see the tears start to well up in her eyes a little bit, and she wipes them away, and she says, well, since the body is currently in the possession of the Human Alliance Guard...
Would you like it to not be?
If you would be able to get the body back so we can give him a proper burial...
Oh, say no more.
I'll give you the information.
How soon do you need that body?
Before it decomposes would be nice, or destroyed.
Oh, even if it's a little bit decomposed, we'll still be able to get him to speak on what he knows, and he'll be able
I'm
to tell us
sorry,
who murdered
what?
him.
I don't know about the rest of the. I don't know about the rest of the party, but I agree to these terms.
Yeah, I'm on board. I actually think we should take a page out of Herlin's book, and we'll just go ask for the body tomorrow morning
And
after we
apologize.
sleep. I don't
With-
plan on apologizing.
No,
And we will apologize
apologizing.
for reading his letter without his consent.
Oh yeah, we can apologize for that.
Yes, that. We'll apologize for that.
As far as I'm
This is
concerned, nothing else happened other than justice.
Alicia stands up and like slaps the table, and she's like, "Perfect. We have a deal. Also, if you don't keep up your end of that deal, there will be consequence." And she begins to walk out the door and does a little hand gesture pointing towards the door, and the rest of them start to follow her.
Before she leaves, I want to try and get inside her head.
Okay, go for it.
That's not gonna work. That's 14.
14. You reach out and you try to reach into her mind, and
Not
As
aggressively,
soon-
just
right, just like a touch. As soon as you touch, there's this voice, and the voice says, "Tread carefully, Starborn. You're not the first of your kind that I've met."
oh, so there is a connection though?
It's a connection, but you can tell that it's a connection that she allowed. And so it's like you don't have control over that connection. She
So it's
does.
like a voicemail.
That's
a little bit.
that either way, when I hear her voice, I'm going to say, I agree to your terms, but I don't take kindly to threats. I don't know if she hears it, but that's just
Yeah. And you hear a voice back, and she says, "Good. Neither do I." And she walks out.
we have an agreement. Well, it kind of seems like the dum-dums were on the right trail. We were so close to getting that body. We would have found it in the rubble eventually.
Exactly.
I think at that point, Madame Zidane steps into the doorway, and she's like, "Are we all done? Good. Plan sorted? Awesome. Well, your rooms are ready. Feel free to go up to them. They're rooms 101, 102, 103, 10... Or is it 201, 202, 203, 204? I always get this confused.
Damn it,
And
just
she
give me a
pulls-
rock.
She pulls out her scroll again and opens it up, and she's like, "Ah, yes, perfect. It's 301, 302, 303, and 304, and 305. All for you. I hope you enjoy." And she walks out again.
Wait, there's 6. That's fine.
There's 5. Yeah, I counted right.
I
Come
mean,
at
there's
me,
also
Braden.
a
I counted
goat.
right.
There's a goat as well.
That's
There-
true. There's
there
a-
are
and,
6.
It just stays with me.
Are there
hey,
6?
Watch it.
There are 5 people in the call. There are 6 people because there's. All right. No.
So she actually says 301, 302, 303, and 304. Wait, no. I said 305 as well. So yeah. No, I
Now
did
we're
say
down to
5.
4. Do I hear 4 rooms?
There are 5
No,
rooms.
there's
There are
5.
5
There
rooms,
are
one
5
for
rooms.
everybody.
No, it's supposed to be 5.
God.
Yeah, you
So yeah, they go ahead and they yeah, those rooms are all set up for you guys, and you guys are good to retire whenever you're ready.
Solstice doesn't retire.
Okay.
She waits until everyone is asleep and decides to slip out. And that's
Okay.
where I'm leaving it.
Okay, cool.
Before I go to sleep, I'm going to cast Speak with Animals and talk to the goat.
Go for it. Go for it.
Oh, shit.
What do you say? What do you say? What do you say, Tintin?
Fuck you!
Hold on a sec.
Can
Hold
I
on.
get the
Do you-
pronunciation?
Hold on, Jake. Is Jacob gonna be the goat, or am I gonna be the goat?
I'd be happy to be the goat if you need me to, Ray. I love this game.
Raymond, I'm going to text you real quick. Okay.
That's really cute.
I
so
think
what
I
do you
got
say-
that right.
I am, and
What do you say to the
I think
goat?
you're close. I think I wrote it down somewhere.
Are you happy with the name Timken?
The goat looks at you, and he is just chewing a piece of hay in his mouth, and he's just going. For the viewers that can't see at home, he makes a really like what goats would do when they're chewing.
Yeah.
kind of
Chewing
motion
some
with their
cud,
mouth.
yeah.
And he's just chewing away, and he looks at you, and he's just like, sorry, I'm trying to think of how to do this that it's not going to be too
Mhm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, come on. Make it crazy.
What does the
Actually-
goat say?
He just chews. That's what he does right now. He's just chewing his hay. He doesn't respond immediately.
Timken, I heard that you enjoy eating metal. Is that true?
Give me a persuasion check.
Like we're making him work for this. This is a stupid goat pain.
He's not stupid. He's my
9.
hero.
I know. He's my favorite. I love him.
Careful! He's a hero!
He doesn't say anything. But you get the impression that he's like looking at you like, really? You're gonna ask that? This is a stupid question. Of course I do. But he doesn't say anything.
All right, Timkin. I just, I wanted to get to know you as a creature better before we went into life and death situations. But if you don't seem to want to reciprocate friendship, I'm not going to tell you to go fuck yourself because I'll still try and keep you alive. But know that my heart is sad because you don't want to talk to me.
Jacob, is there any chance that he can get a signal between Mr. Wiggles?
Eventually. Go ahead and roll me a perception check, though, real quick.
Me?
Or, sorry, not
Sure.
perception check. A persuasion check. Joe.
Persuasion. What's
Joe-
that?
Joe's gonna roll persuasion for what he said to Tim.
It's
17.
The last thing you hear is Timkin going, "Well, fuck you too, mortal." And that's it. The spell is cut off.
Eridanus looks at the goat and goes to bed. That was terrifying. Actually, I'm gonna message Herland in my brain and be like, "Don't trust the goat. It's not a rat." Go to bed.
Oh my god, this is great.
Herland,
The only
like,
quote that matters out of the
so I'm assuming that at this point, Herland is in her room,
Yeah,
right?
that's fine.
In her chamber, and she hears Eridanus say that, and she speaks to him back, and she says, "That's what I've been trying to tell you. Simon warned me of these creatures. They are not rats. They are evil."
I don't know if it's evil, but it's definitely not normal.
She
That
pulls
is not
out,
a normal goat.
So, Solstice sneaks out, right? So Solstice, you snuck out before we end because it's already 10, and I want to make sure people can get up tomorrow. What is Wahlock? Sorry, not Wahlock. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Wahlock?
No, you're right. Wahlock.
Wahlock. Oh my god, sorry, the inflection. So what is Wahlock? And we'll start with Wahlock, and then I'm gonna end with Alison. What are you doing before turning in for the night?
Wahlock is going to take a look around, notice things are a bit different here in the human side of things.
Very different. Very different.
Lot bigger.
Yep.
Take off his pack, look around, and he says, "Oh, fuck." As he's, going through his things, making sure he's not missing anything. Because he was ran into by that guy earlier.
Roll me a d20.
Natural 20.
You hear a sound like rushing wind. You look over and you notice that your window is wide open. And you see in the distance, there's like this little star. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's kind of low in the sky. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
You want to know what his first reaction is?
It's a firefly!
His first reaction is to get into a stance, like a fighting stance. Like whatever's coming at him, he has a good idea of what it is to punch it. Because that's a great idea, right?
So yeah, so you go in, and because you got a natural 20, this thing is like flying right at you, and you punch it straight down, and it gets caught, like stuck into the wood flooring, and it's just like spinning still, like in the wood flooring, but like stuck. And it's your gear. It's your gear with the.
So you're telling me it came flying directly at me, and I just walloped it from above, and it's now performing like a Beyblade.
That's exactly. Yep, that is correct. Go
and
ahead and
Wahlock looks straight down, and he's like, "Right on time, huh?"
Go ahead and roll me a D100.
Don't mind my gremlin laugh.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I was
55.
Oh, okay. That's a new one.
It is a new one.
You're looking kind of suspicious right now. I'll be real. You get the inkling that you look really suspicious. And as you're looking down at your gear, you notice these like chunks of red that are just floating down onto the wooden floor. And as you go to reach up, you grab your hair and you actually are holding chunks of your hair. Your hair is falling out.
No, not my long, luscious locks.
So yeah, you have no hair. You've got no facial hair. You've become. Yeah.
You're so suspicious.
You're very suspicious.
No.
Incredibly
He goes and reaches for. He pats his face, looking for his beard and his mustache. Nothing. Nothing.
Baby face.
In fact, he's smoother than a baby's bottom.
Smoother.
He's the smoothest that he's ever felt, and it's
The
almost
smoothest
like,
ever.
and it's almost like, so he's never felt this before. It's kind of refreshing, but he hates it. He hates it so much because it's nothing.
Yep, it's all gone. Hold on, I gotta.
And so with that, he takes the rest of his stuff, throws it to the corner, and just humps onto the bed. Just jumps and just hump, and just immediately, the moment his head hits wherever it is on the bed, he's just out.
Perfect. So then, our good friend Alison, what are you doing before the night's over?
So I get finished and I'm messing with it, and I've had this stone rolling around in my pack for a while, and I still don't know what the heck it does, and it's shiny and bright, and it just keeps shocking the shit out of me, and I don't know what it is. So I'm messing with it, and finally I'm able to actually starting to use this thing. I don't know what it is, but I know I can put pieces of metal and attach them together and fuse and weld them together now. And this stone is glowing, and I'm just like, cool, I got a rock that attaches metal for me, awesome. This glowing stone, as I'm using it, as I'm using it as a welder, the stone is glowing brighter and brighter and brighter. I unintentionally, as I'm trying to attach the metal, I actually burned it and melt it in a spot, and I'm like, I didn't mean to do that. And now the heat turned off and stuff, and the stone glows, and it starts to relax. And I just go, let's kind of scrap pile that I have, and then replace it with another piece, and just like, okay, so this that I'm used to, I gotta make sure to tone this back, and I don't think about it too much, and I go to bed, and thinking, so I did give him the side of the stone, but the stone had kind of chilled out, relaxed, and it's nothing major. I've kind of keyed it up as like it's an extra luxury keychain. I mean, that's how important it is to me, and everything kind of relaxes and chills out, and I fall asleep.
So Herlin, she sits on her bed and she puts her hand in her cloak pocket that holds Ida, and she lets her nibble on a part of like the rotting flesh of her hand. And as she strokes her, she's just looking at like the tiny pebble that sits upon the like bed table, and she says, "Oh, Ida, this does not seem like finding myself is going to be easy." And with that, her and Ida curl up and fall asleep.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby. Don't let them rain on your spark. Keep it close to your heart. All of the pressure's gonna drive you crazy. Close your eyes to the madness. In the morning, it's all gonna vanish. Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
Hear ye, hear ye! Hey, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Where the Stars Fell. Solstice is played by Molly, Eridanus is played by Joe, Wally is played by Braden, Herlin is played by Alexis, Alison is played by Ray, I'm your narrator, Eddy Bigspitt, and our amazing Dungeon Master is Jacob. You can find all of our social links in the episode description. Stay tuned for future episodes coming the first and third Mondays of every month. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a like, comment, and a rating to let us know you enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in. Hey, you want to hear a story? Extra.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
What the fuck? Freddy Fazbear joined the chat.
Yo!
It's Craig. Say hi to Craig,
I need
everyone.
to
Hello,
Fuck
Craig.
you, Craig.
Fuck you, Greg.
Damn.
Hi,
I'm just
Craig.
kidding,
Is
Greg.
that-
I love
Wait,
you.
is that like the mic check that we need to do in order to sync the video? Everyone just say fuck you really loud. Fuck you.
Fuck you,
Fuck
Craig.
you.
Wait.
This is so aggressive.